Okay, so the way I'm going to go about teaching the Romanian language is an indirect method. Reason being is everywhere you go on the internet, people always try to teach Romanian in a very professional manner, using correct grammar and vocabulary lists that, words that go together and all of that. And in my non-expert opinion, I don't think that works. I think that takes the fun out of it. And if it didn't, then I think a lot more people would be able to speak the languages that they tried to learn from on the internet. What this is going to be basically you go to your cousin's house, you're hanging out in the garage playing video games or something, and you're learning Romanian that way in the midst of other people speaking Romanian. So it's not going to be the, and, with those words grouped together. It's going to be random words, completely random, here and there, things that don't go together. We're going to learn them in that way. And I think that that's going to end up being a way more effective way to do this. I'm going to call it the indirect method. I don't know if there's already a method called that, but we're going to start with the alphabet today. And everything we're going to do is going to be very easy. We're going to learn 10 words a day and for 6 days in a row. And then we're going to have one day where we review those words. And what I want everyone to do who watches this is in the day that you learn these words, try to use those words when you're having conversations in your head. And you're going to have to start having a lot of conversations with yourself in your head. And you have to insert those words into those conversations to practice them throughout the day. So at the end of the week, we're going to do a review, make sure we understand and know how to use all those words correctly and how to pronounce them correctly. And hopefully the plan that I have with the music is going to work out. And then that day, that's going to be the lesson is that song. So today we're going to start with the alphabet. The alphabet is extremely easy. It's phonetic. What that means is the same exact way that it's pronounced in the alphabet is exactly how you read it in the words. So the moment you learn how to pronounce the alphabet is the moment you can already start reading Romanian. You're not going to know what you're reading, but you're going to be able to read it. So there are several letters that don't really exist in common Romanian words. And that is going to be the letter K, Q, W, and Y. K, you will see only when it comes to words like kilogram or kilometer. So that's only for measures, okay? Q does not exist unless it's outside of words from other countries. And it's just going to have a KW sound, which is the same way it's kind of in English. Y is going to have an E sound if it ever exists, but it's only going to exist again if it's words from not in Romanian. I'm pretty sure we never have that one. And then W in Romanian is double V. So we have the V and then we call it double V. And in English, it's basically you have U and then a W. So we just decided to go with the pointier version. But they both make the same exact sound. And the only time you really see these W's are when you have Germanic words that were adopted into the Romanian language. For example, one of my uncle's names is Walter, and we will call him Walter. But his short nickname is Vili. So it's always going to be a V sound. Both of these are V sounds, so we don't really use the W because the V already does what the W does, so we don't need it. Unless it's, like I said, German words that we adopted. So out of all three of these, you'll only see the K with measures and the W with words like that. You really don't see the Q or the Y. And then that is why when Romanian people come to the United States, a lot of times instead of pronouncing words with a W with a W sound, they'll say the W as a V sound. So weekend, winery, it's part of the accent, you know what I mean? Because in Romanian, that's what that word is pronounced like. So that's that part. And then we have another specifically very tricky letter. And this is going to be probably the only one that's confusing. So everything else in the Romanian alphabet, we have A, U, B, K, D, E, F, G, H, I, U, Sh, K, L, M, N, O, P, R, S, Sh, T, C, U, V, X, Z. I'm skipping these ones that we don't use, so I'm just gonna cross them out. I did say the K sound, don't worry about that. We're just gonna cross that out. So these are the letters that we want to pay attention to. Right off the bat, we have a few letters that help us have some very specific sounds. Okay. Again, I am not a professional. You're learning this from a random person who came to the US when they're 7 years old. Okay. We're going to learn it my way. It's going to be the shenanigans way, and we're just going to roll with it, and you're just going to trust me, and you're going to speak Romanian eventually. And that's the only thing I can tell you. All right. So these are our specialty letters. These two, the two hat letters, they make the same sound, like that's disgusting, that's gross, very, very easy sound. We say this sound in English constantly, very easy. This sound, also extremely easy sound. We say it in English all the time, and it's the I don't know about that, that's that sound, basically the question mark sound, right? That's that sound. And these are like ew, okay? This S with a little mark underneath, this is going to give us our sh sound. And then this T with a mark underneath, that's going to give us our TS or ts sound. Super easy, very straightforward, okay? So far, all of this is located here in the alphabet. So it's going to be the same way you learn to pronounce these sounds is how you learn to pronounce it in the alphabet. It's exactly how it's pronounced when you read and write it. All right. Now, the only confusing one is going to be our little friend, the C. The C sound will never be an S sound in Romanian. C is a K sound through and through. Until you put E after it or I. Any other letter doesn't matter. This is going to make the C sound. But when you put an E after the C, this is now a che sound. And when you put an I after the C, this is now a chi sound. Okay? And here's why this is confusing. Because if you want the k-e sound or the k-e sound, you have to put an H in between them. And then it'll make a ke or a ki sound. Absolutely backwards. You would think this would be a che and a chi. It's not. This is the che and the chi. You think this is going to be a, what's it called? A ki and a ke? No. This is the ki and the ke over here. So this situation here, memorize it upside down, inside out, and sideways, because this is the only confusing part. Everything else, super straightforward. A, U, B, K, che, chi, ke, ki. Okay. And then D, E, F, G, H, I, U, J, L, M, N, O, P, R, S, Š, T, C, U, V, X, Z. So this right here, let me just erase this business up in this section. This business over here This is the complete alphabet we're going to be working with. This is what all the words are going to have. These are the sounds, and I just went through them so you know exactly how each one is supposed to be pronounced or enunciated, whatever. You know what I'm talking about. This is it right here. A, U, B, K, Ch, K, K, D, F, G, H, I, U, J, L, M, N, O, P, R, S, Š, T, C, U, V, X, Z. Real quick before we finish, why do we have this and this having the same sound? I don't know. Okay, so that's that. But they do, and we'll see what words have them which way, and we'll just go with that. Okay, willy-nilly like, indirect. Can we call it the willy-nilly method? Let's call it the indirect or willy-nilly method for language learning. And that's what this is going to be. And we'll come back tomorrow for our first 10 words that we're going to learn.